Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. The mystery over who leaked the draft opinion for the Supreme Court continues to baffle the nation's capital. It's also raised security concerns for the court ahead of a final ruling. Lauren Blanchard has more from outside the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court now behind a wall of fencing as emotions remain high over the leaked draft opinion suggesting the justices may overrule Roe v. Wade. In the middle of the night, workers put up non-scalable fencing, and pro-choice activists plan to protest outside the D.C. area homes of the 6 conservative justices, publishing their addresses online. Senator John Cornyn filed a bill Wednesday to give justices and their families around-the-clock security protection.
My sense is that this leak was a strategically planned one, primarily to try to intimidate these justices.
The leak of the draft was a historic first, so it's unclear exactly how far the investigation will go into who did it.
My concern really isn't hunting down who leaked it. My concern is making sure that this does not go through.
It was a great upset in authority, and I believe that there does need to be strict repercussions on the leaker.
Chief Justice John Roberts tasked the Marshal of the Court to find the leaker, but some in Congress are calling for other agencies like the Justice Department to get involved. The problem is the draft wasn't classified information, and there is unlikely to be any criminal charges.
Obviously, it's up to the Department of Justice to determine what, if any, action they will take. Our focus is on highlighting what the content in there would put at risk for women across the country.
The final ruling by the Supreme Court isn't expected until June or July. It is unclear if the fencing will stay in place until then. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
We have a traffic alert for you tonight. 2 bridges in Steuben County will be closed starting next week and remain closed for an extended period of time. The bridge on County Route 9, 12 Mile Creek Road, crossing 12 Mile Creek in Prattsburg, will be closed starting Monday and remain closed for 5 months as it's replaced with a completely new bridge. The second bridge is on Thompson Road, crossing North Branch Clendening Creek in Tuscarora. That bridge will be closed for 7 weeks. A kosher candy company is issuing a recall of products sold in New York after detecting bacteria in their liquid chocolate and their production facility. Strauss Israel is recalling over 100 Elite branded products out of fear they could be contaminated with salmonella. Now, no illnesses have been reported yet. If you bought them, you can return those products for a full refund. For the first time in months, daily hospital admission levels and COVID-19 deaths are both projected to increase. Jonathan Ferry has more from Atlanta.
COVID is still with us, and the CDC is predicting the next few weeks could be tough. Nationwide, COVID hospitalizations are up 20% in the past 7 days, with emergency room visits jumping about 18%. The hardest hit state, New York, where COVID-related admissions have tripled in the last month. But we're still nowhere close to the levels seen during the last surge. And most doctors say the new Omicron subvariants driving the spike in cases are more contagious, but not as dangerous as the original.
It does appear that BA4 and 5 are somehow evading prior immunity, but not causing severe illness at nearly the rate. And we should expect that.
The CDC is projecting at least 42 states will see a jump in hospitalizations and deaths in the next 4 weeks. We're currently averaging about 66,000 new cases every day in the U.S. as health officials work on getting the most vulnerable Americans protected.
More than 250 million Americans have received at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, and 2/3 of adults over age 65 have gotten a booster shot.
Meanwhile, a new study by the World Health Organization shows almost 15 million COVID-related deaths worldwide since the start of the pandemic. The White House says that underscores the need for Congress to approve more money to fight the outbreak.
This shines a light on why we need more funding, not just domestically, but internationally, so that we can continue to be the arsenal of vaccines for the world.
There's still no vote scheduled in Congress for a $10 billion compromise COVID funding bill. In Atlanta, Jonathan Ferry, Fox News.
2 people are shot and killed at a makeshift music studio in New York City. Police responded to the scene in Midtown Manhattan just after midnight. One man was on the sidewalk outside a building. He had a gunshot wound to his back. Police found a second man with a gunshot wound to his head inside the building on the 3rd floor. Both men were pronounced dead at a hospital. Police recovered a gun near the first victim. They're looking for more than one suspect. The number of new jobless claims rose slightly last week, but the number of people collecting unemployment benefits remains at the lowest level in more than half a century. The Labor Department says first-time jobless claims were up to 200,000 for the week ending April 30th. Now that's 19,000 more than the previous week. The total number of Americans collecting unemployment benefits is just under 1.4 million. That is the lowest figure since January of 1970. Money can't buy happiness, but it can certainly take it away. A recent survey says financial concerns are affecting Americans' mental health. The survey by Bankrate and Psych Central shows many people are negatively affected by money worries. 42% of the respondents said money problems are impacting their mental stability. The analysis found women stress out more than men about finances. Researchers say money management and debt are related to a decline in mental health, which can also lead to anxiety, loss of sleep, and even depression. Supply chain issues are not just affecting new products on shelves, it's also affecting people who want to get repairs for things they already own, like cars. Liberty Zavala has more.
How long typically does it take you to turn around a car in terms of repairing?
Depends on the damages that it might have.
Auto repair shops are struggling to fix cars in a timely manner because there are just not enough parts to go around.
There's shortage in parts from all the different manufacturers, and what's going on is that it's just delaying the repair times overall and everything. So
Manny Herrera of Fix Auto Santee says supply chain issues from the pandemic are doubling their turnaround time.
I would say on an average, maybe from 3 to maybe 6 months, depending on the type of part.
That's causing a ripple effect across the auto industry. Even rental car dealers are feeling the pressure.
When the car maker does not have a microchip to build their cars, so by the fact the demands goes up because new cars are not coming to the market.
Afshin Karimi of Perfect Budget Rental says he has reduced inventory and higher customer demand as people stay longer in rentals waiting for repairs.
The demands is up, but we don't have that much vehicle to provide.
The high demand and low supply is also forcing him to raise his prices.
I don't like it that much because 2 years ago, I had 60 cars for rent. Now I have 20 cars for rent. So just compare it. My price going up, but I don't rent, I don't collect that much money.
Mechanics here say repair shops are busier than ever. They say for the average repair, it used to take about 7 days, but now due to the pandemic, it has jumped to 21 days. For now, here in Santee, Liberty Zabala, Fox 5 News.
We'll have your forecast next. Plus, the hottest housing market in the country may not be where you expect. We'll explain coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, we were able to see some clearing, a little bit of high-level cloud cover seen there on the Binghamton camera, but overall it was much more quieter conditions today. But we are going to turn back to those shower chances as we look at the probability of precipitation as we head into that Friday forecast. You can see there is a big uptick in that potential as we head into the early afternoon. Now, there will be a high-pressure system trying to give us some relief and some drier air, but overall it seems like we're at least going to see some of that moisture as that increasing cloud cover and moisture content will move in through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. Now, light rain showers possible pretty much starting again Friday afternoon and then lingering through about Saturday morning before we'll see that high pressure system break into the northeast and allow to push that low pressure system off the coast and bring back in some sunshine and then hopefully some more southerly winds that will jump those temperatures up after a cool few days that we will have after this or with this system. So looking at that rainy Friday that we have ahead, a low pressure system is going to be just around the Ohio Valley, extending that troughing system through portions of New York, that moisture is going to be able to build enough. Now, we'll have to kind of watch this forecast. Precipitation chances and amounts have started to change depending on how much dry air can hold in place and how much moisture can really work in with this system. Now, thunderstorms or any severe threat does stay well off to the south of us, so it's just going to be some light rain showers. So you can see here 7 a.m. You're looking at a lot of moisture here, but I think really when we wake up Friday, those showers will want to extend that far, but we're going to have drier air at the surface that's going to evaporate any of that rainfall until we see some of these higher reflectivities by about the lunch hour. That's when we could start to see those light rain showers. And for the most part, it just stays light rainfall. Maybe a pocket or two of some moderate rainfall, but for the most part, nothing really intensifies. It more just starts to fall apart as we head into that Saturday morning as that low pressure system will start to pull out of the region. So as mentioned, again, precipitation continues to shift a bit. Yesterday was only looking at maybe 1/4 of an inch. Today's precipitation up to about 3/4 of an inch. I think we'll walk away with that 1/4 of an inch, especially if we can break into that precipitation as early as that lunch hour. It's going to be where we see some of those pockets of some moderate rainfall. As you can see, areas to the south of Elmira even have a chance to see up to about 1.5 inches. So a good moist system if we can overcome some of that drier air. Those towards the Finger Lakes, maybe 1/10 of an inch. I think that's where that high pressure system is going to hold on to the region a bit more tighter, which that's going to allow for temperatures to be a bit warmer up into the 60s as those that are going to be out of those showers earlier in the day, keeping those temperatures into the 50s. And that's what we're going to see translate for us on Saturday, is that we start off with those rain showers, which ultimately is going to keep those temperatures into those 50s. So a little bit of a cooling trend towards Saturday, but that things are going to make a big improvement for our area. We're back under the sunshine on Sunday, so some good news there for the moms if you want to take them out to brunch. Temperatures climbing to about 67 degrees, 70s by Monday, and then we stay in a quiet weather pattern as we step through next week as we look at the 70s to dominate much of your second week of May.
The most overvalued real estate market right now isn't New York, Miami, or San Francisco. It's actually a city in Idaho. Jake Karalexis is in Boise to explain why this is happening.
It's all because of the pandemic. People have been leaving big cities and heading to smaller ones like Boise, and that's sending housing prices through the roof.
I do think Boise was, a gem that people are discovering.
After living in California for more than 20 years, Teresa Jeffrey and her family moved to Boise in November 2020. Jeffrey could work from anywhere and says the community and a lower cost of living were two of the biggest reasons for the move.
The people helped to sell us on Boise. And then the other thing is I feel like your money goes a lot further here. So there's a certain amount of accessibility and affordability.
But all the people heading to smaller markets is driving up housing prices.
The primary reason for this is that many people from high-cost areas, whether California markets or from Seattle, Portland, moving into Boise.
A housing market is considered overvalued when homes are selling for more than their asking prices. And the 10 most overvalued markets in the U.S. are in Arizona, Florida, and Idaho. In fact, Boise is the most overvalued market in America right now.
Nobody expected what happened in the Boise market from 2020 on.
Realtor Carrie O'Hara says the number of people coming in has made it expensive to buy a house in Boise.
We have not enough supply and a seemingly never-ending amount of demand.
Which is proving difficult for longtime Boise residents to buy a home.
People now, when they want to either be a move-up buyer or they're retiring and want to buy a smaller house, that's become increasingly difficult as well.
O'Hara says people like Teresa Jeffrey are still making the move from places like California to Idaho. In fact, California's population has decreased the last 2 years in a row. In Boise, Idaho, Jake Karalexis, Fox News.
In an effort to curb greenhouse gas emissions and reduce the impact of climate change, a number of companies are launching new, inventive methods of transportation. Ashley Stromier has a look at a special ferry powered by hydrogen fuel cells and why officials are calling it a game changer.
Cruising the waters along the West Coast is a new method of fossil fuel-free transportation that officials say has the potential to change the way Americans commute and help save the environment.
This is going to be the next standard.
This is the Sea Change, a state-of-the-art ferry powered by hydrogen fuel cells that emit water and heat instead of harmful greenhouse gas emissions.
It's the first vessel, first commercial vessel in the world that's got that propulsion system.
The boat was constructed by the All-American Marine Shipyard. It measures in at 70 feet, can carry 75 passengers, and reaches a max speed of 20 knots. The Coast Guard in Washington State is currently testing it in the Puget Sound. By next month, officials expect the vessel will start shipping people across the nearby San Francisco Bay, where the clean, green energy provided by the hydrogen fuel cells will help the sea transform how we travel without hurting the planet.
The shipping industry uses, on average, around 300 million tons a year of carbon-intensive fuels, emits on average about 1 billion tons of CO2 and other greenhouse gases a year.
Critics say hydrogen fuel cells are slow to roll out in commercial vehicles because of their high cost and sheer size. But that aside, the creators of the Sea Change hope to start seeing this technology powering not just larger ships, but also industrial factories as well. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
A wild encounter for a Texas woman who found an alligator at the front door. Jonathan Martin spoke with the woman who talks about the scary experience.
It was an experience.
She can chuckle about it now, but boy was Tammy Tanner terrified when she got home Monday and found an 8-foot gator on her porch.
And all I seen was the mouth wide open and hissing. And I thought, I'm hallucinating. This is not an alligator. And he was on me. I mean, he was right there. So I tried to turn quickly to start running, but his tail caught my knee and it knocked me down. And I thought, well, he's going to be on me now.
Tammy's boyfriend, Jody White, was nearby and saw her fall back and thought maybe a burglar had pushed her until he saw the gator.
So I come running up here, seeing that, and then I had to drag her back away from the doorway here, so it was out of the way.
They rushed to their truck and called for help. The gator stayed on the porch. Precinct 4 constable deputies and Texas Parks and Wildlife got there. This is video of Wrangler Tim Duramis pulling the gator away from the porch. The team then used duct tape and bungee cords to get the animal under control. We talked with Duramis later as he was finishing capturing another gator in LaPorte. He says there's a reason we're seeing more alligators on land.
They get up on land, they're trying to digest their food, or they're trying to warm up their body temperature because the water's cold. With these cold fronts that we've been having, it's been getting hot and cold and hot and cold.
Tammy is still in pain, swollen from the gator smack, but is glad she's the one who encountered the animal and not any neighborhood children. Deputies don't know where the gator came from, but plan to put it back into its natural habitat. And now Tammy, Jody, and all these officers have a story they'll probably be telling for years to come.
Nobody can beat this. All of their stories back at the precinct, nobody can beat this.
The popular word game Wordle brought thousands of new subscribers to the New York Times. The newspaper revealed in its recent earnings report a significant increase in customers because of Wordle, with more than 380,000 new online-only subscribers in its last quarter. The company bought the popular word game in January. However, the New York Times' CEO says many of those have stayed to play other games and says this has been the business's best gaming quarter so far. A magic-filled Marvel journey, an animated adventure with a familiar canine friend. Ashley Dvorkin has a look at new releases this week.
Experience the new MCU mind-bending movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in theaters nationwide.
Things just got out of hand.
Benedict Cumberbatch is back as Stephen Strange. Co-stars include Chiwetel Ejiofor and Elizabeth Olsen in a story directed by Sam Raimi. Realities unravel and a new enemy is revealed in Marvel's latest. And right before the film is an immersive, exclusive theatrical trailer for Avatar: The Way of the Water.
We need to know all the facts.
Promise me you won't hurt him, Mitch.
Where is he?
In select theaters on digital and on demand is The Ravine, with Eric Dane, Terry Polo, and Peter Facinelli about a shocking tragedy in a peaceful community, leaving family and friends searching for answers.
Who's there?
In theaters and on digital is the horror movie Shepherd, with Tom Hughes starring as a widower haunted by the death of his wife, who moves to a remote Scottish island where supernatural forces push him to the brink.
I can turn your dog into a champion.
New on streaming, the mischievous Marmaduke has a new adventure on Netflix, with a famous voice cast including Pete Davidson and J.K. Simmons.
Husband of the Year.
Thanks.
And Hazel is back at the hub in the sci-fi dark comedy Made for Love Season 2, with more episodes rolling out on HBO Max. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
We want to leave you with a smile. There are dogs, there are big dogs, and then there's this fella. A Texas dog takes the Guinness World Record for being the world's tallest. 2-year-old Great Dane Zeus was awarded the title by the organization after being measured at 3 feet, 5.18 inches. The record-keeping company officially recognized Zeus as the tallest male dog alive. The previous award holder was another Great Dane with the same name, who died in 2014. Zeus's owners say they're surprised and excited to know they have the tallest dog alive as part of their family. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your day.